Here are the real signs that you respect yourself, even when you feel broken. Most guys think that self-respect looks like confidence, walking tall, zero self-doubt, and having life figured out. But that's not what it is. Confidence is a feeling. Self-respect is a standard. There's a difference. And by the end of this video, you'll realize that you might already have self-respect. You just haven't seen it yet. Before we start, let me know in the comments, out of 10, how much do you think you respect yourself right now? And with that, we move to the first point, which is something that you see and you realize in your day-to-day life that you actually may not be realizing. The first sign is that other people's comments about your life don't shake you. See, when other people's comments don't shake you, you actually trust your process more than their opinion of it. So someone says something unkind about your job or your current life situation, your choices, nothing shifts inside of you. Of course, it is natural to feel a bit defensive and want to say something. But over time, if you have that self-respect inside of you, you actually start letting these comments slide off as if it's just bouncing off. These comments actually start bouncing off of you like it's rubber. This is a very, very hard skill to build because of the fact that we want to be liked by others and we want to make sure that we're not outcasts, and we feel quite deeply about our own lives and where we're going. And there's a difference between brushing it off publicly and obsessing over it privately and feeling the need to defend yourself, between that and just that unshakable confidence in yourself. It's not arrogance, it's well-earned respect for yourself. See, this is one thing that I've built over a few years now. From time to time, I still feel a little bit jolted by people's comments, but I'm gonna be very honest with you, compared to 3-4 years ago, I'm a lot more stable in my thought process now when it comes to my own life and how other people view my life. I've had quite a few different experiences in my life. For example, all my career pivots that I've had to make after being laid off and going through restructurings, even starting YouTube and being on this channel when people questioned it. And even now when this channel is still growing, even when people are like, is it worth doing it? It's not going to grow. And even growing up on wanting to fit in socially at school and slowly starting to outgrow that need and being more comfortable in my own skin and what I do in my day-to-day life, and not letting that, not letting that core personality trait of mine be shaken up by wanting to fit in. Like for me personally, that need to fit in happens when you're in your school years and your university years. That's when it's most intense. But as you graduate, as you start working in the real world, you often find that you're so busy with your own life, managing your career, managing your money, your relationships, that desire to fit in doesn't really hit the same as it does when you're younger and you're in your early 20s. The second real sign, arguably the most important, that you have self-respect is that you keep promises to yourself when nobody is watching. And this is something you hear quite a lot online. So accountability to others is very easy. And the real test is what you do only when you know, or behind closed doors, when the cameras are off and when you're all alone. See, it's all about, for example, the gym session that you go to that you don't feel like doing, but you do it because you want to keep up that discipline. The videos that you almost don't post because you're too embarrassed, but you're like, forget it, I'll do it anyways. And that's the real beauty of this sign of self-respect, is it's about the relationship you build with yourself and the trust you have in yourself that, yes, I'm going to do something, I'm going to shake my own hand, I'm just going to get on with it. And again, this is another skill that you build up through practice. And the more that you do it, the more small promises that you keep for yourself, the more evidence that will build and the more firm that you'll be in your day-to-day actions. For example, if you've been going to the gym consistently, it doesn't have to be every single day, but 4 or 5 days a week or 3 or 4 days a week, you go, you keep the same time, same schedule, you do a same workout, and you just keep relentlessly doing that for a period of time, that is a promise that you're keeping to yourself. If you're eating healthy and you're resisting the urge to have cheat meals 2 or 3 days a week, that is respect for yourself. For example, let's say if you feel that you have strong ethical values and you feel that it could be very easy to do something for money or for just clout, but maybe you feel that it's wrong and it's not the right thing to do. So you actually turn away from that and you do something that's perhaps a little bit more difficult or a little bit more painful in the moment, but it respects your values. That's perhaps the strongest example of keeping promises to yourself, upholding the standards that you set and not letting anything get in the way of that. And that's really when you start becoming quite bulletproof in your mentality and in your self-respect. And if you feel that if you think that these are things that you need to start working towards in your life, then book a call. Then use the link in the description to have a free conversation with me where we can talk about where you are in your life and how we can get from here to here and to start building a solid identity and a direction and purpose in your life. Anyways, back to the video. And now the third point is something that you actually may not notice straight away. And it's that you're selectively vulnerable. You choose and pick which people to open up to more about your life and who to veil it and who to restrain it from. You're not closed off, but you're not wide open. So the truth in this is that you don't bottle everything up, but you don't hand out your wounds to people who don't deserve it, who don't have the rights to hold them. You choose against access. So some common mistakes that people make are oversharing to feel connected or shutting out everyone to look strong and be like alpha male. And in my life, I've learned to open up slowly after years of bottling it in, whether it's through a journal or through a voice note to myself, or even through at times sharing my life through these videos and sharing my experiences to help you, the viewer, live a better life. People come to you with their problems, and that's something that is very powerful. People have that trust in you to not only keep their inner thoughts or their deeper secrets, but also it just shows you that you have enough self-respect for yourself that you realize how much real trust that requires. And therefore you uphold that in your own life as well. And what I've learned as well is that when you're at school, you try and build a big social circle. But when you have your own life and you're in your 20s and you're trying to build a foundation for yourself, that circle gets smaller and smaller. So what you value over time is, instead of a big circle with quite shallow connections, nothing really lasting, you want a small circle with deep connections. That's what a lot of people really crave in their 20s. And that moves me on to the next point, because you can have a small circle with deep connections. But what that allows you to do is have really honest conversations with them. And this is the fourth real sign that you have self-respect. And it's that you can say no or disagree without over-explaining. Let me break it down for you. So if you're a people pleaser, you try and over-justify things. You over-apologize for having a different view. And self-respect sounds like, I'm not doing that, and then you just stop. It's not about quietly agreeing out loud and then privately not wanting to do it, or sharing a long paragraph apologizing for not wanting to do something. The truth is that it actually looks like knowing your boundaries, knowing your views, and sticking to it firmly when you know that you disagree with something. Now, there's a difference between that and between being receptive to different ideas and wanting to take part in different conversations to expand your view and hear other people's perspectives. We absolutely want you to do that, because that will only be good for your life, and it will also challenge you to think a little bit about your worldview and how to approach your life. But also know that if there's something that you disagree with, you know that you can say no and not feel the need to over-explain yourself, because then that turns into a bit of a weakness And even it can venture into you not having confidence in your beliefs. So take this from the shy kid who wanted to be accepted at all costs, fitting into different social circles and saying yes and being agreeable and trying to bend in. Again, there's a difference between being likable and being a pushover. And people actually respect you more if you're not a pushover. The final real sign that you respect yourself is that you take your own goals seriously, even when nobody else does. See, people around you, they may not get it, but you decide that it matters, and that's enough. You don't need a cosign from anyone to commit. And it actually gives you the power to work towards your own goal. And you're not waiting for anyone to validate your goals and to get that approval that you so desperately feel you need. Because a lot of the times we make goals and you often wait for people to validate your vision or give you the thumbs up, metaphorically, before you actually do something with it. And being a self-starter is a very good sign that you have self-respect. When I was at university, I studied history. So it's not a very, how do I put it, employable degree. If you're a doctor or you're a lawyer, if you're studying medicine or law, then it's a more employable job, if that makes sense. It's easier. Obviously, they have their own challenges, but your path is a lot more clearer. Whereas with history, it's not a very employable degree. But I knew I had to grind harder than others when it came to networking. And so there was a point where I actually had a spreadsheet of the amount of job applications I did after university. It took me over 100 before I found my real job. But the real legwork came in during university. Internships, networking, events, part-time jobs. These all helped to build a real profile for me. And also, this channel, 2.5 years of very slow growth, but just keeping consistent, just carrying on with it. Because I want to help people and I want to see this channel grow and help more people find their identity and their purpose in their life. Just doing it anyways, just because. So those are the 5 signs that you have self-respect for yourself. And if you want to know more about how to build that inner confidence and start becoming more unshakable, now it's time for you to start figuring out how to start setting those goals. And so if I'm to give you I want to give you an action step. I want you to look at each of these points and figure out which ones do you think you hit already and which ones do you think you need to work on. And then work backwards. Think of the ideal person you want to be and work backwards to start thinking about how you can get there, how you can start building those signs of self-respect. Start with deciding your core values. And if you want to know more about how to build those core values and decide what's for you, you will want to watch this video right here. I'll see you there. Peace out.